Thousands of years ago, a war of cataclysmic proportions erupted across the mainland of Japan. In the heart of what we now call Tokyo, gods and demons clashed in a devastating battle that shook the very foundations of the world. It was a time of chaos and terror where no one was safe. The heavens themselves seemed to weep as gods, one by one, fell to the relentless onslaught of the demonic hordes. The balance of power teetered on the brink of oblivion. Finally, only one god remained, a solitary figure standing against an endless tide of darkness. With a heavy heart, knowing the sacrifice it would entail, this final god unleashed the last of their divine power. In a blinding flash of celestial energy, they wove an unbreakable prison, trapping every last demon and sealing them away from our world. The cost was immense. The god's own life force was extinguished in the act. The seal was keyed to 7 secret demon balls. As long as these mystical orbs were kept separate, the demons would remain forever banished. But a chilling prophecy lingered. If the 7 balls were ever brought together, the seal would shatter, and a disaster of unimaginable scale would be unleashed upon the earth. Millennia passed and the Great War faded into myth, the demon balls into legend. In modern-day Tokyo, 4 best friends, Goji, Narutoro, Guko, and Seichiyoma, were navigating their extraordinary lives. They weren't your typical teenagers. Each one possessed incredible powers. Goji could manifest a Dominion upgrade, a powerful territory-based ability that warped reality around him. Narutoro held a deep connection to the spirit world, able to summon the formidable power of the Frost Fox, Tentalis. Guko could channel his energy into a devastating beam he called the Kameo-Mama. And Seichiyoma, well, he could fly and most impressively destroy just about anything with a single, earth-shattering punch. One afternoon, the 4 were just walking along, enjoying the day and minding their own business, when Guko suddenly stopped. He pointed towards a small antique shop's dusty window display. "Hey guys, look at that!" Nestled amongst old relics was a strange, perfectly smooth, dark purple ball. It pulsed with a faint internal glow, and etched upon its surface were 2 distinct stars. They stared at it, a sense of weird familiarity washing over them. What could it be? They'd never seen anything like it. Seichiyoma, ever the blunt one, voiced the thought that was slowly dawning on them all. "You don't think it's a demon ball, do you?" The other 3 stared at him, then back at the orb, their eyes wide with shock. A demon ball? The legendary artifacts lost for millennia? It seemed impossible, but the strange energy emanating from it was undeniable. They knew, with a certainty that settled deep in their bones, that this discovery was no mere coincidence. Something had to be done. Pooling their pocket money, they bought the orb and hurried back to their shared house, a makeshift headquarters for their superpowered shenanigans. Placing the 2-star ball on their coffee table, they watched it thrum with a dark, captivating light. A heavy debate began. What was the right course of action? Should they find a way to hide this one ball, to bury it so deep no one could ever find it again? Or was that just delaying the inevitable? What if someone else was already searching for them? After hours of deliberation, a risky, audacious plan began to form. Hiding one ball felt like a temporary solution. The only way to truly end the threat, to eliminate the possibility of the demons ever returning, was to face it head-on. They decided to do the unthinkable. They would collect all 7 demon balls themselves. They would intentionally summon the demon lord and his minions, but on their own terms, in a time and place of their choosing. They would force the final confrontation. They knew the demon lord's name from the ancient texts. Shenlong, a fearsome dragon-like demon with scales of purple and eyes like voids of black space. The legend said he was invincible. But Guko, Goji, Narutoro, and Seichiyoma had something the ancient gods didn't: each other. They believed that their combined strength, their friendship, and their unique powers could overcome any evil. But it wouldn't be an easy treasure hunt. The legends hinted at the locations of the other balls, scattered across the globe in the most treacherous places imaginable. Their quest would take them to the brink. They would have to face the searing cold of active volcanoes in Iceland, brave the torrential, non-stop rain of the Amazon, and dive into the crushing pressure of the deep blue oceans off the coast of Australia. They'd navigate the chaotic, crowded streets of New York City during rush hour, ascend to the high oxygen-thin cloudy peaks of the Himalayas, and delve into the claustrophobic, deep underground mines of South Africa. The journey tested their limits. In the heart of a volcano, Narutoro used Tentalis frost power to create a path through molten rock. In the deepest trench of the ocean, R.Z.Y, holding his breath for an impossible amount of time, punched through a rock wall to retrieve a ball guarded by giant sea creatures. Goji's Dominion upgrade was crucial in a crowded city, creating a pocket of stillness around them so they could retrieve a ball from a museum without anyone noticing. Guko's energy blasts cleared paths and defended them from mystical guardians awakened by their presence. Against all odds, they succeeded. One by one, they collected all 7 demon balls. They returned to their house, exhausted but resolute. The air was thick with tension as they carefully placed the 7 dark purple orbs on the floor in a circle. Each ball, numbered 1 through 7 with stars, pulsed with a malevolent energy that was almost overwhelming. Following a diagram they found in an old scroll, they placed the 4-star ball in the very center. The moment the final ball was set, the reaction was instantaneous. A blinding burst of violent purple light erupted from the circle, illuminating the room and casting long, dancing shadows. The floor trembled. The very air crackled with raw, demonic power. Then, with a sound like shattering glass and tearing reality, the demon balls exploded outwards as Shenlong, the demon lord, emerged. He flew out of the epicenter, his massive serpentine body unfurling to fill the entire room. He was more terrifying than the legends described, a dragon of pure nightmare with purple skin and cold black eyes that promised only destruction. "Run!" Goji shouted, instinctively preparing to create a defensive dominion. But Narturo stood his ground, his fists clenched. "No, we knew this was coming. We can fight him if we work together." Shenlong let out a roar that shook the house to its foundations. "You will never defeat me." His voice boomed, a chorus of damned souls. "Demons, attack!" From the swirling purple energy left by his arrival, legions of lesser demons began to pour forth, snarling and clawing their way into our world. The battle for Earth had begun. The 4 heroes didn't hesitate. Narturo thrust his hands forward, summoning the ethereal form of Tentales, the massive frost fox roaring its challenge. R.Z.Y shot into the air like a cannonball, his fists a blur as he punched through demon after demon, each one exploding into dust on impact. Goji slammed his hands on the ground, shouting, "Dominion upgrade!" And a checkered, distorted space expanded from him, trapping and disorienting a huge chunk of the demon army. Guko focused all his energy on the main threat. He cupped his hands, a bright blue orb of light forming between his palms. "Kameo Mama!" he yelled, thrusting his hands forward and unleashing a colossal energy beam that slammed directly into Shenlong. The demon lord roared in pain and fury as the blast seared his purple scales, damaging him greatly. "Why, yes!" Guko shouted, seeing his attack had worked. But Shenlong was far from defeated. "Minions, give me your power!" he commanded. The demons still standing began to dissolve into streams of purple energy, flowing into their lord, healing his wounds and amplifying his strength. "No!" shouted Guko, watching in horror as Shenlong grew even larger and more powerful. They were being overwhelmed. For every demon they defeated, 2 more seemed to take its place, and Shenlong was only getting stronger. "Guys, I have an idea!" R.Z.Y yelled over the chaos. The legend said the final god used all their power in one go. If we come together and use our powers all at the same time, we might just be able to defeat him and save the world once and for all. It was an all-or-nothing gambit. "1 sec," said Guko, a fierce grin spreading across his face. "I need a little more juice for that." He clenched his fists and screamed, his aura flaring to life. The ground cracked beneath him as his power level skyrocketed. And just like that, Guko transformed. His hair flashed to a brilliant gold and spiked up, crackling with electrical energy. He had achieved a new level of power, Super Insane 3. His power level was beyond 90,000. "Now," Guko said, his voice resonating with newfound strength. "Let's go!" The 4 friends stood shoulder to shoulder, a united front against the demon lord. They began to channel all their remaining strength, all their will, into one final combined attack. "Kame," Guko began, a sum-like sphere of blue energy forming in his hands. "Dominion," Goji chanted, the space around Shenlong beginning to warp and constrict, weakening his defenses. "Tentales," Narturo yelled, the frost fox spirit merging its icy power with their attack. "Let's go!" R.Z.Y roared, adding his own limitless kinetic energy to the mix. All 4 of them launched their attacks simultaneously. A massive swirling vortex of blue energy, icy mist, distorted space, and pure kinetic force slammed into Shenlong. It was a wave of power unlike anything the world had ever seen. Nitrogen monoxide. Shenlong bellowed, his voice filled with disbelief and agony as the combined attack consumed him. And then the mighty ancient evil, the demon who had once brought the gods themselves to their knees, fell. He dissolved into nothingness, his demonic army vanishing with him. Silence fell. The purple haze cleared. Sunlight streamed through the broken windows of their house. They had done it. They had won. Exhausted, bruised, but triumphant, the four of them looked at each other and broke into wide smiles. They had saved the world. And how do you celebrate saving the world? By throwing a great big party, of course. The threat was gone for good this time, and it was all thanks to four best friends who dared to face the darkness together. Thanks for going on the journey with these four friends. Hope you enjoyed their adventure and can see that teamwork overcomes all challenges. Please like and subscribe for more.